So, we're finally in Serie A. Eat your heart out, Mike Piazza, you piece of During this off-season, we do bring in players like winger Samuele Pirindelli from Monza, a solid defender in Thiago Giallo from Sporting CP, Noah Weishaupt from Freiburg, who we eventually send out on loan, and some other young transfers for depth. Pre-season injuries aside, we start the year once again with a Coppa Italia matchup, this time against Serie B side Como, and we do securely defeat them 3-1 to kick off the season. Opening the Serie A portion with a pair of victories against Monza and Atalanta before finding ourselves in a Groundhog Day scenario with 1-1 draws against defending champions Napoli, Fiorentina, and Roma before finally getting back to winning ways against Genoa. It is then once again time to meet Sassuolo as the away team in our own stadium. Okay, look, we've been over this already. Even though Sassuolo's ownership might own the stadium, this is still very much our house. And we show that by beating them 4-0 with Lorenzo Lucas scoring a hat-trick in the process, 10 goals for him in 8 games so far. His form has not dropped since coming into the team last season, even though we are nowhere near winning the possession battle in most of our matches, it's still not stopping our target man from hitting the ball onto the net. But Fury, how is he doing all of that? You might be asking yourselves. Fear not, my friends. There is a perfectly good explanation to all of this.
We like to call it the power game. You know, the power game, it hits all the time. It hits every time. It is non-stop, never fail. And if we knock it out the competition.
That said, we got Juventus next for my 100th game as a head coach. And while they spend their time kind of dominating us all over the pitch, a well-placed header from Lorenzo Luca on a set piece gets us the goal, the clean sheet.
Blessed be you, the power game has touched another. Yes, sir!
But of course, AC Milan is next on the schedule, and they decide to ruin all of the fun by beating us 2-1. It's like deja vu all over again. The match against Milan does get me thinking that we can't really be complacent. So while our full Italian tactic has been working well, and we do have a 4-4-2 in our back pocket, I decided to just tinker with a couple of things, and lo and behold, we've got a new tactic to try out. I'm going to call it the Italian Revolution. Our variation of the original full Italian tactic and the OG tactic itself does give us a successful end to the year, with Lecce and Udinese getting dealt with in November, and outside of a draw against Cremonese to start December, we do end up running the table for the remainder of the month against the likes of Empoli, Bologna, Lazio, Pisa in the second round of the Coppa Italia, and Sampdoria. That run of form is good enough to have us in the unlikeliest of positions in the Serie A standings.
Impressive. Very nice.
So after the holidays, our confirmed loan arrivals in Lozano and Matias Godoy arrived to help the squad depth and to help us pick up from where we left off in December. As January does see us get past Torino with a Lorenzo Cabrace, a Derby d'Alenza matchup against Parma, where we stomped them in our house 4-0, a full display of the Italian Revolution formation sealing the deal against Inter Milan, and then ending the month with a 3-0 win against Monza. As for our January transfer window, there's only one way to explain it.
Loans. 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 Oh, loans.
Seeing us bring in Icelandic prospect in Mikael Egil Ellertsson, who's with Liverpool, Paul Nebel from Mainz, Germany, and West Ham defender Malang Sarr on loan alongside selling Pellegrini. We also tried to get Endrick on loan. It did not work, unfortunately. So after a busy transfer window and surviving a virus scare, February is upon us, and with it, 2 big games just a few days apart. A key matchup against second place Napoli, 6 points separating us, and 3 days later, the third round of the Coppa Italia against Inter Milan. So of course we lost 4-1 to Napoli, go figure. But we do go with our usual starting roster fresh and ready to tackle Inter Milan. And some way, somehow, the Coppa Italia game provides all of the drama by taking us into extra time, where we do manage to snag victory from the jaws of defeat in order to advance to the quarterfinals against Fiorentina. A match that would happen within a week after this one got played out. Thus, we rotate the lineups against Atalanta for a draw, but outside of Thiago's injury, we do go into the Coppa Italia game relatively healthy, and then we proceed to beat him 2-1 with Lorenzo Luca getting a brace and punching our ticket into the Coppa Italia semifinals. Granted, we play Fiorentina again days later and they punch us right back by winning 1-0, but look, I'll take that punch if it means winning the Coppa Italia. Have you seen that trophy? The only downside at this point is that Napoli does take first place in Serie A, but look, again, ebbs and flows to this stuff. We'll be fine in the long term. Even with certain concerns like Kasper Poneman having hit a wall as he hasn't scored, dating back to our game against Parma in early January. Now, a Coppa Italia win at the very least guarantees us a spot in the Europa League, so having that in our back pocket in case everything does fall apart in the second half of the season is a good thing, especially since on the XG table of the standings shows us being in 8th place and performing way above expectations. That lesson was probably the best one to keep in mind because after we somehow survived tough outings against Roma, after having our game against Genoa postponed because their pitch is waterlogged, and then managing to beat up those Sassuolo jerks 1-0 as the home team, the remainder of March is less than stellar. We somehow start drawing matches, culminating then in a Coppa Italia semi-final first leg loss against Lazio, in which a last-minute goal by us is the only reason why this task doesn't escalate to near impossible levels. The only bright note out of all of this is that we do break our winless streak against Udinese, and with that, we do get a brief international break in which we can take a deep breath, we can relax, and then tackle the final 2 months of the season to get back right into our winning way.
No. Wait.
Let's just move on to April before I decide to take the trip 1,000 miles out west. We definitely feel Luca's absence in the next 2 games, as a draw to Lecce and a loss to Cremonese puts us behind the 8 ball as Napoli starts running away with the Scudetto. Thankfully, the folks get it together, we beat Bologna to recover from this winless streak, and then we go into the second leg of the Coppa Italia semifinals against Lazio and beat them 2-0 in order to advance to the finals to face... It's you again.
I am back! What it do, baby?
We do get Lazio within a few days after the Coppa Italia matchup in Serie A in a similar manner to Fiorentina, but rather than losing this one, we do kind of just beat them down 4-1 before going into our rescheduled game against Genoa. And of course it ends in a 3-3 draw where we blow a 3-1 lead because existence is pain. So we got 5 games to go in May, including the Coppa Italia final. We move on to Sampdoria on the road, and they're the first team on our list of 5 games left, where we do win 2-1, followed by dealing with Torino at home, and then going into the Coppa Italia matchup against AC Milan with some positive momentum. The media reminds us yet again that we haven't beaten AC Milan in our previous encounters, and really this goes further back, because the last time in which AC Reggiana managed a victory against AC Milan goes as far back as May 1st, 1994, where they beat them 1-0 in Serie A. A victory so unlikely at the time that they called it the Miracle in Milan. In current game terms, it's been 31 years since we've last beat them. But if there was ever a time to beat them, this is it. We end up conceding early in the 13th minute as Ismael Benacer scores a free kick from the edge of the box, but a Thiago Giallo pass in the 26th minute does find Kasper Poneman, who chips it over the goalie to tie the game. But Milan does strike back within a couple of minutes on the 36th minute as a couple of passes eventually find Brahim Diaz, who scores a beautiful goal from outside of the box, making it a 2-1 game. Both teams have their struggles, but on the 75th minute, everything changes. Lorenzo Luca boots it and ties the game 2-2.
1 minute later.
Betzos finds Crew, finds the Riva to Lorenzo Luca! Two goals in 2 minutes, and we take the lead 3-2, leading into the 91st minute, where Ellerson scores a beautiful goal to seal the deal. Barring an absolute miracle from Milan themselves, we will have made history. And we did it. We actually did it. We have beaten AC Milan, and we have won the Coppa Italia for the first time in team history. The first major championship for Reggiana in the top flight of Italian football. This point is absolutely huge for us, to say the least. Not only because it's Europa League football, not only because it's an important title for the guys in question here, but it proves that we belong in this tier of football, which is super important for the club's stability moving forward. So with that said, we've got Parma and Inter Milan to end the season. It's a bit of a mixed bag of results, as we do beat Parma and end up falling in defeat to Inter Milan, but the ending standings for Serie A are most interesting because at the end of the day, we end up in second place. It's a historic finish with a historic player, as Lorenzo Luca manages to beat Ciro Immobile's single season record of goals in Serie A, netting 40 in total. And how did he do that, you may ask? Simple.
Because the power game is for everybody. It's for me, it's for you, it's for the children. It's for the animals, the birds and the trees, vegans, carnivores. You know, if you need something right in your life, if you need something true, something to cling on to, something to hold close to your heart, power game's here for you.
That said, it's been a wonderful campaign all around. Hoping to do just as good next year with a lot of the core still intact. But oddly enough, it feels like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, that. We got Champions League football next year. Thanks, see you next year, bye.